these tall, charismatic people who probably lead large corporations or lead large teams or, perhaps leaders of countries. In some cases, as I saw this morning, leaders of armies. But for me, I think the idea of a leader is really about the person who's actually inside each of us. Because if you think about it, some people might lead teams, some people might lead armies, some might be lucky enough to lead a country, but each of us leads a life. And the quality of that life squarely depends on the leader. And I often think that, there is that leader inside each of us, and he's waiting to be unleashed. And what I'd like to do today is to try and share some thoughts and ideas with you on what we might actually be able to do to unleash that leader inside each of us. And to help me to do that, I've brought along with me a very powerful tool, and that's right here inside my pocket. And with your permission, I'm going to pull it out and show it to you, because I think that little tool can teach us several lessons on leadership. So here it is. Yep. It's a tea bag. Okay? And what I'm going to do is really tell you a little bit about this tea bag and try and share some lessons that we can all take away from what might actually be just a humble little tea bag. First, an interesting story. This tea bag was actually born out of an accident. Okay? There was a tea merchant called Thomas Sullivan in London who decided to send some very exquisite tea to some friends of his. He put them into nice little silk bags and sent them away. And one friend, too lazy to actually take the bags off, just dunked that bag with the tea into a cup, and the tea bag was born. So, next time you think you've got this great idea of genius, remember, it might just be an accident. Yeah? And very often what happens is that it's only when you do something different, when you dare to do something different, that the truly great ideas then are created. So what I'd like to do today is to try and share with you some leadership lessons from this humble little tea bag. Okay. The first one is this. Okay. Some tea bags come with these exquisite labels, nice and silver embossed, and some have very nice tassels of silk. None of that makes a difference to the tea. Okay. The quality of that tea bag depends squarely on what's inside the bag, what's the tea inside the bag. And I think it's a good lesson for all of us to remember. Very often we all get caught up in trying to acquire these fancy labels, say, I want a string that's better than hers. Doesn't matter. What really matters is what's inside us. And that's the one that's going to make a difference to who we are, what we do. It's what defines you. It's your moral compass. It's your values. That's what determines the kind of leader you will be. So, don't get too caught up in trying to get better labels. No one's going to care. Don't try and get those better looking strings. Just focus on what's inside you, and that's what will make you the person you can actually be. Second, think about it. You know what? All tea bags look the same. It's only when you put them in hot water that you realize how strong the tea bag really is. Okay? And I think it's true for all of us. It's true for all of us as leaders, as human beings. It's only when we are under pressure, when we get into hot water, that you realize what the real person is all about. Okay? And I think it's those moments of temptation, it's those moments of pressure, it's those moments when you feel you're inside hot water that your true colors get revealed, that your true self gets revealed. And that's something that you must try and remember. Lesson number 3, no matter how good the tea is, the bag has got to be porous. Okay? Imagine this, you lock yourself inside this very solid bag, you're the best tea in the world, ain't gonna matter. You've got to learn to ensure that you allow the rest of the world to connect with you, and you allow what's inside you to actually reach out to the rest of the world. So I think being able to communicate, being able to reach out, being able to touch the real world is extremely critical for the tea bag and for leaders. Here's another one. Most people think, that it's only at the top that leaders will work. A tea bag, doesn't matter where it is. You can put it on top, put it on the bottom, put it on the side. It'll work just as well. And young people often think, let me get to the top, then I'll show you what a good leader I am. Okay? Doesn't work. So show what you are, and you can do that from where you are, who you are. Nothing needs to change for us to say, that's when I will show you what a great leader I am. I think leadership can work across levels. Another one, sometimes the cup is so large that one tea bag is not enough. Okay? Tea bags need to learn to work with each other. So great leaders are those people who actually learn to work with other leaders. Okay? And there are some leaders who think, it's all about me. And the minute there's another leader anywhere in sight, right, that's conflict. Don't let that happen. I think tea bags realize this, that sometimes one tea bag cannot do the job. The problem may be too large, and all it takes then is for you to say, let me welcome another tea bag into this, and together we'll actually make the kind of brew that we really wanted to. And sometimes, you need to add some milk and sugar. So, you might say, I want to make the world's best cup of tea, and I'm the world's best tea bag, but that's not enough. You still might need resources, need skills, which are very different, which are things you don't have, but things which will actually help you to ensure that you can deliver on what you set out to do. Next one. Good lesson to remember. Okay? Someone else holds the string at all times. Okay? You might be the world's best tea bag, but somebody else can decide, I've had enough. I'm going to just throw it away. Okay? We are all answerable. We are all answerable. It could be to a board, it could be a customer, it could be to parents, to society, to God. Take your pick. But never forget the fact that no matter how powerful you are, no matter how good you are, someone else holds the string in their hands. I love this one. Now, this is really about saying, no one ever drank a cup of tea and said, wow, that was a fantastic tea bag. Yeah? People drink a cup of tea and say, that was a great cup of tea. So I think leaders need to recognize this. It's not about me. It's about what I do to the rest of the world around me. Okay? I think we can all get caught up in trying to become the best there is, in trying to say, I'm going to be the greatest tea bag. I want people to look at me and say, wow, what a great tea bag. What a great leader. Doesn't happen. You will get recognized for the organizations you create. You will get recognized for the impact you make. You will get recognized for what you do to the people who come in contact with you. That's what defines great leaders. So remember, you haven't done it, no one else has done it, that you drink a cup of tea and say, that was a fantastic tea bag. Yeah? Never happened, never will. And finally, remember this. Okay? Eventually, every tea bag needs to make way and kind of move on. Okay? I think the mistake tea bags can make is to think that, I am the one. When I came in here, there was nothing. It was just water. I went in and changed the world. And look at it. Now, if I leave this place, it'll go back to becoming water. That's a mistake. Never think that you've become indispensable. And very often, as young leaders, as people, we can start thinking that, the world depends on us, and that if we were to go away, the world would come crashing down. That's not true. Okay? And usually, if you want to enjoy a cup of tea, someone's going to first come and throw that tea bag out, and then make sure that, the tea is still very nice and you can enjoy it. Okay? I think some useful lessons to remember, and I'm hoping that, as you leave from here, you'll remember some of those lessons about the tea bag, but more important, I want you to remember that, sometimes the best lessons, the biggest lessons in leadership can actually come from small things around us. The mistake we can make is to believe that it's only great leaders, large organizations, successful captains who can teach us leadership. Leadership can be taught by the security people outside this hotel. They can be taught by the lady who's selling vegetables outside. Why? They can even be taught by that little tea bag. Thank you for being a patient audience. Questions? Comments?